You know, as a dad, and I don't always do a great job of this, but I try to, I used to smoke cigars. I really enjoyed a cigar. And then all of a sudden, 11 years ago, I was on the deck in Connecticut where I lived. And I was smoking a cigar. And my son was in his crib. And I watched the smoke on my cigar from my deck go up toward his window that was open. And I was like, this isn't great. I think I'm going to stop smoking cigars. I mean, I enjoyed them certainly, but I was on a deck in my house in Connecticut, and my son was in a crib, and I'm looking at that smoke go up in the air, and I see his window, and I'm like, is any of that smoke getting into my son's window? God, that'd be like a terrible dad. And I decided, Joy Taylor, I decided that moment, I'm done with cigars. I'm not judging anybody who smokes them. That was a visual for me. It had an impact on me that day, and I thought, I'm just done with cigars. I remember where I was. It was a Cohiba. It was a beautiful fall afternoon in Connecticut, and I remember the house, the deck, the chair, and his window open. And I doubt any smoke got into that window, but I just thought in the moment, that's not a great example. I'm done with cigars. And by the way, haven't missed them much, but just a choice I made. And we do this all the time as adults. We send messages. And I think mostly we try to send good messages to our kids, but we can't get angry with our kids when they sometimes mimic our messaging. And that's where I fall on Kevin Durant. I believe Kevin Durant is a very loyal person. If you go back to his high school, if you go back to college, people speak about him in glowing terms. But people are mad now. They're resentful of Kevin Durant for his mobility and his lack of loyalty. So let's go back to Kevin Durant, his childhood, his life, his teens. Now he's in the NBA. So he gets drafted by Seattle. One of the richest Americans owns the team, Howard Schultz. He owns Starbucks. Howard, worth 10, 12, 15 billion, won't put in 300 million for a new basketball arena. Kevin Durant watches that and says, man, that guy's worth like 20 billion. He won't even take a third of 1 billion to put money in and build a new arena. And the team left. He wasn't loyal, Mr. Howard Schultz. Then he goes to Oklahoma City. A little scarred, but he goes to Oklahoma City. This new owner's the best. They're winning a lot of games. Westbrook, Harden, Durant. And they trade James Harden because another billionaire wanted to avoid a luxury tax. Again, Kevin Durant saw an adult with billions squabble over millions for a small luxury tax. And then he watches his first and second coaches, P.J. Carlesimo, Scotty Brooks, capable men, certainly, fired with winning records. And again, the messaging to a young Kevin Durant is loyalty. What is loyalty worth? Then he watches Kevin Garnett leave Minnesota, LeBron leave Cleveland. And they're both rewarded. So Kevin Durant starts to, like a smart kid, transform himself. And he changes agents. And it was not easy. And it was difficult. But after he did that, he signed a $300 million deal. And he is now American wealth. And doesn't feel terribly guilty about it. Because he watched Clay Bennett and Howard Schultz and Kevin Garnett and LeBron James, all people he probably looked up to. I'd look up to my first team owner, especially if I drank his coffee every day. I'd look up to Clay Bennett. That's his arena. Wow. I didn't grow up around people with that kind of success. Then he watches LeBron and KG and no loyalty anywhere. And Kevin Durant should be applauded because like a smart kid, he watched the good things his parents did or his peers did or his contemporaries did, and he chose that path. So we make all these choices as adults, and then we get angry at kids who mirror those choices. You tell me what Kevin Durant watched for 8 years in this league. Billionaires not willing to give up a third of one of their billions in a city they live in for an NBA team that's been there 50 years. Another guy get rid of James Harden over pennies to his net worth. And then he was rewarded by simply changing agents to the tune of $300 million, which changes Kevin Durant and everybody in his family for the rest of their lives. It is easy, but this is what we do. We crush players for not winning titles, yet when they pursue titles, we crush them again. Which is it? Stop sending messages and be upset when smart kids watch and mirror our messages.